the apartment across the street. Vera didn't like moving, but this time she had no choice. After the last incident, too loud, too dangerous, she had to abruptly disappear from her old life. New neighborhood, new building, new apartment. No questions asked, no past. The building turned out to be old. So old that even the elevators seemed like a relic of another era, creaky, slow, with a mirror in which the reflection looked a little dimmer than it should have. The hallway was long and narrow, with identical doors on both sides. The ceiling lights burned dimly, creating the feeling that it was always evening there. Her apartment was number 46. Across the street was number 47. At first it was just a door. Ordinary, dark, unremarkable. But it was the beginning. Day 1. Vera was bringing in her things when she first noticed something strange. There was not a single sound in the apartment across the street. At all. No footsteps, no television, no water in the pipes. As if no one lived there. But there was a fresh lock on the door, and underneath were barely noticeable scratches, as if it had been opened often or closed too quickly. She shrugged. In big cities, people often live without noticing each other. Day 3. The first sound. A dull thud. Short, as if something heavy had been dropped on the floor. Vera froze in the middle of the room. She listened. Silence. She walked to the door, opened it, and looked out into the hallway. No one. But door 47 was slightly ajar. Just a couple of centimeters. Darkness from inside. Too dense to be simply the absence of light. Vera took a step, and the door slowly closed. By itself. First alarm. She couldn't sleep that night. She lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening for every sound. The creaking of pipes, the distant barking of dogs, footsteps somewhere on the floor above, and then a quiet voice. So quiet that at first she thought she imagined it. "Please." She sat up abruptly. Her heart beat faster. The voice was coming from behind the wall, from the apartment across the street. First, meeting different. The next day, Vera deliberately left at the same time as the day before. And she waited. Door 47 opened. First, a boy came out. Slowly, he held onto the frame as if he didn't want to come out. Then a woman, thin, pale, with eyes that held neither fatigue nor emotion, only emptiness. And finally a man. He closed the door and looked straight at Vera. Not surprised. He didn't smile. He just assessed. "New neighbor?" he asked. "Yes." A pause. "Have you lived here long?" "Enough." And then silence again. The boy kept his gaze fixed on her, as if he was memorizing. "Your walls are thin," Vera said, unable to bear it any longer. "Sometimes you can hear." The woman looked at her sharply. "We don't make noise." Too quickly. Too harshly. "I was just saying," Vera replied calmly. The man placed his hand on the woman's shoulder. "You shouldn't pay attention," he said softly. "People often hear things that aren't there." And he smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. Observation. From that moment on, Vera began to watch. Not overtly, just noticing how many times the door opened. At what time? Who came out? With what? And very quickly she realized something was wrong. They barely ate. Grocery bags appeared rarely. The boy never went out for a walk. And the strangest thing was that sometimes at night there would be a smell in the hallway. Metallic. Warm. As if blood. Second night. The sound was louder. A blow. Another. And then a scream. Short, stifled. Vera jumped up and went to the wall. "Hey," she called quietly. "Is everything okay?" And there was no answer. But after a couple of seconds, whisper, "Help." Vera recoiled. It no longer seemed like an illusion. Solution. In the morning, she called the police. Anonymously. Reported suspicious sounds. They arrived 2 hours later. They knocked. No one answered. They left. Vera appeared from behind the door and felt the cold growing inside. The mistake that changed everything. That evening, door 47 was ajar again. This time a little wider. And that same smell was coming from inside. Stronger than before. Vera stood in the hallway. A second. 2. 3. 8. Any normal person would have left. But she was already too deep. She pushed the door. Apartment. The first thing she felt was cold. Not a temperature, but different. As if the apartment itself didn't want anyone living in it. White walls. Too white. No photographs. No personal belongings. Only cleanliness. Perfect. Abnormal. She walked further. Kitchen. Empty. Living room. And there. Footprints. On the floor. As if something was being pulled. Heavy. Leaving barely noticeable marks. Room. The door to the far room was closed. But from underneath it, light, weak, yellow, and a sound. Quiet, almost inaudible. Breathing. Vera reached for the handle. Opened it. Too late. The room was small and almost empty. Only a chair, and a chain, and footprints on the floor. Fresh. But no one was there. You finally came in. A voice behind her. Family. They stood in the doorway. All three. As if they'd been waiting for this very moment. Why? Vera asked quietly. The man took a step forward. Because curiosity is a weakness. The woman looked at her without blinking. You heard, she said. You saw. The boy bowed his head. Now you'd know the truth. They weren't hiding. They were telling stories. Calmly. As if sharing a family story. People disappear, the man said. Sometimes it's their own fault, the woman added. Sometimes it's just bad luck, the boy whispered. You kill them? Vera asked. Pause. The man smiled. We solve problems. Trap. Vera grabbed a knife from the table. She stepped back. Don't come any closer. They stopped. Too easy. And then she understood. The door behind her closed. The windows barred. Their apartment wasn't just a place. It was a trap. Disappearance. 2 days later, the neighbors smelled the odor. The police forced the door open. The apartment was empty. Completely. No furniture. No belongings. No trace. Just one thing. On the wall. She learned too much. Epilogue. A week later, a new girl moved into apartment 46. Young. Beautiful. She often stood in the hallway and looked at the door across the hall. Apartment 47. Sometimes she thought someone was watching her, and one night she heard, "Help," and the door across the hall slowly opened.